Everybody, great to be back with you. Mike Fairborn here for our ThinkScript class. Welcome everybody to a interesting day in the markets, an interesting week in the markets. Folks, I've been talking about, and I've gotten several requests in terms of maybe a cup and handle pattern. Could we create a cup and handle pattern? Is there a way to do that? It turns out there are some ways to potentially do that. So I've set this up today, really looking forward to showing this to you. This is something I've been working on for a little bit now and finally able to present it. So we're going to take a dive into that using a very important weekly type candle setup. So interested to get into that with you. And I've also had several requests as well. Last time we were here, we talked about the bull flag plus the Cahold pattern, which is an interesting approach. You're kind of getting the a potential setup with a indication of a follow through. Well, we had a lot of requests because the day that we did that, it happened to be a very down day in the markets. It didn't start off that day, but by the time I was done creating it, yeah, we had a bullish setup in a down market day. That's just so. You want to have a bear flag with a kablow to close below the low of the low day, and that's exactly what we had built. So I built one of those. I want to share that as kind of a bonus today, flipping it around because folks, hey, when the markets go down, that's where you start to see the bear flags. And so I'll look forward to diving into that with you all today. Well, welcome to each of you. It's good to have you here. Joining the chat by a good friend and colleague of mine, Mr. Kevin Horner. And you'll see him in the chat as KH. Folks, also, yeah, any questions, comments you have, definitely throw those in the chat. If you are getting value out of these presentations, smash that like button and always subscribe to our channel. Love to have you on board. We're over 173,000 subscribers right now. So with that, let's do this. Let's dive on into our discussion. Let's start off first with some disclosure slides to get going here. All right, information here is for general information purposes only. Should not be considered an individualized recommendation or personalized investment advice. Paper Money software application is provided for educational purposes only as well. Okay, past performance is no guarantee of future results. We've got futures and futures options trading does involve substantial risk. It's not suitable for all investors. Keep that in mind. Backtesting results presented are hypothetical. There's no guarantee that the same strategy implemented today would produce similar results. Backtesting is always, an element of what we look at here. We look back at prior periods. But yeah, the market is not a closed system, right? Data keeps flowing into it. It's an open system, is the way engineers would refer to it as. And so things always change. And that's why, similar, you're never going to see anything that's got exactly the same results. All right. Well, let's take a look at our agenda here. Today, folks, I was able to use and we've talked about this before, using prior or indicators that are already built on the platform. That gives us a high success rate in terms of actually being able to create something that's going to work. Can ThinkScripting meet the goal after we've identified the goal? Today's goal was really, well, it was twofold because we had the bonus that I'll talk about today, which is the the downward bear flag followed by the close below the low of the high day. But folks, the cup and handle pattern, I wanted to use with that a special candlestick pattern that can help us with that. And what we're really doing here is going to be taking 5 candles, 5 days, and putting them into one using a weekly candle indication. And that's how I was able to do this, by using actually a candle that's not as well known, but it has a form that can set it for a cup and handle, and you'll see some of the results. We'll share that script before we are done. So let's do this. Let's get going here initially, and just take a look at the S&P 500. I think it's in an interesting scenario. Of course, as I am presenting to you the bear flag today, markets have, of course, rebounded, and they're bouncing back up. But the good thing is you guys will have both of those classes that we discussed. So both of the codes, one to the downside, one to the upside. Actually, I'll pull that up here for you in just a moment. But as you can see right now on the markets, as we're looking at it, this actually looks a bit like, to be honest with you, a flag pattern itself. It's coming in an interesting time of the year, and so there might be a a bullish sort of an indication here in terms of the possible year-end rally, right, that we talk about. You've heard of the Santa Claus rally, year-end rally. There's been a few different ways to describe it, traders that I've heard from traders, investors. Taking a look at seasonality under style, just to kind of show you what that looks like going towards the end of the year. Here's kind of that year-end rally. We've had kind of a crazy November. November has historically, 5, 10, 20 years, oftentimes been the strongest month of the year, as you might see right there on a 5-year chart. But yeah, towards the end of the year, it still is sort of shaping up like it could be. Let me just draw it in if I could. Over here, dot, dot, dot. Will it go up and kind of flag towards the end of the year? You'd have to say it's in a little bit more of a stronger position because, well, we do have the trend in place. And so I just go through this as just a general kind of an idea, summary. Trend is up. The recent trend is up, and we're kind of holding that range. So could it continue with a seasonal type pattern, folks? It might. It very well might happen and move kind of with the average of the markets, kind of the market movement, right, and seasonality. So those are some things to consider. And the reason why I bring that up is because, are things moving with the market trend? We are above the 50-period moving average. We were below it before. We're above it. So some traders might be shifting more towards that bullish type outcome, right? That's what they might be focused in on. All right. Well, we talked about, I'll pull this up over here because, yeah, encourage everybody. I know this is early in our discussion here, but I just wanted to highlight this anyways. If you haven't followed us already, give us a follow here. I'll go ahead and just post this in to the chat window so you guys have it. Many of you know how to get there on YouTube, but there you go. That's for our, well, this is for our playlist, but you could just, it'll have a subscribe over here. Love to have you on board. If you like this kind of content, of course, but here is, the one we did last week, new code. It was the flag plus the Cahold in one. Like I said, I couldn't have timed it worse in terms of the day that we put it out because it was a down day and not a lot of people were really caring about bull flags at that point in time. But hey, this is it. So we're going to talk about the flip side of that one today. I'll just copy this link address and I'll post this down in here. So this is the bull flag. If you haven't seen it yet, you may want to check it out. You might want to have something like this in your tools, right? Now, again, as we start off talking about the Think script, scripts are not guaranteed for timeliness or accuracy. Always keep that in mind. Sharing those scripts early, so I wanted to point that out. Now, as long as the data that's flowing through the platform is accurate and good, I've tested these, I've run through them, so you should get the results. But yeah, it's not guaranteed for timeliness or accuracy. We'll leave it there. All right, so that's the bull flag side. In fact, we'll pull that up right now under our scans, and I did have that guy saved over here. Let's see, we had it over the bull, and there it is, the bull flag with a Cahold. And so if we run through it, you will see these set. We have 3 today. I'll just show you this, folks. So here we go. Here is EW. You can see it right there. Now, the funny thing is, as I mentioned this too, notice you're getting, there's a little bit of a flag pattern, and you're getting the Cahold. I just chose an example here on this Edward Life Sciences, but you're closing above the high of the low day. Are we closing above the high of the low day? Not yet. It shows a close right now because it's the last price. I wanted to confirm that. Folks, we're still, the market's still open for another 50 minutes or so, right? But as long as it closes above there, by the end of the day, when you run that scan, you will see it there. Now, do you notice it's inside of which we get? The great thing about these flag patterns is they'll often be like this. You see a big flag pattern. You might see another little one here, like this. So when you're picking up on a mini flag, it might be part of a larger, do you see it? Bull flag here that could have more extension to the upside, question mark, right? We don't know. It's the setups for a flag, and it gives you time to find out maybe what the heck is going on with Edward Life Science. I like to look at the companies, a little bit of the fundamentals, and just see, hey, what are the growth rates? Our revenues, and this is really kind of a hot spot for a lot of analysts and investors. They do like to see like revenue growing quarter to quarter to quarter. So you have time to look at something like that, right? When you get the a possible pattern setting up. That was last week's discussions. I sent that link in, bull flag plus Cahold right there in the chat if you want to take a look at it. That is a long flag, Chris. Yes, there's a long, but it's really identifying this right here. Like, remember the 3 or 4 day pullback that we had up to 4 days? That's what was in the code that we talked about last week. But this week, we're going to flip it around and we're going to still, what are we in? The S&P 500? Let's do the NASDAQ 100 too. They're probably, there we are, NASDAQ 100. Remember, key point, we are in the scan tab, folks. We have to be in the stock hacker to make this work. All these others over here, although I want to do a couple ThinkScript classes. Tell me if you guys are interested in this on the options. Some of those areas could be interesting, but no discussion on options today. I was just going to say there is the option hacker and others, right? So just park that in the back of your mind there. There are others, but we are on the stock hacker right now. So I'm going to go back over here and we're going to pull up the one that I really wanted to develop here and get out going here for us. There it is. Cablode. It is the bullish or the bear flag Cablode. Wow. We've got a grand total of 1 because what are the markets doing right now? Let's look at it. What about the NDX, folks? They were going up. Okay, there are some interests in that. Just thought I'd throw that out to you guys. Yeah, because we really haven't done too much of that. I'm not going to touch anything in that regard today. You know, it's got a different topic, but something we could definitely look at down the road. Okay, so here you go. Here is the NASDAQ 100. You can see that strong recovery here. When I ran that bear flag with the Cablode, I'm getting Netflix. Let's use an example so we could just try to confirm what's going on here, and then we'll go ahead and share that so you guys have it. There you have it. Okay, so this is it. Remember, it identifies the downward trend, and we got plenty of those. And just like the bull flag going to the upside like this, the bear flag will do the same thing. In a lot of cases, it'll have a number of these little flag patterns going down like this. Okay, so what you're seeing right here is one of these. It kind of rallies back up to a prior resistance level and it dips down. Remember, we looked at it within the past 2 to 3 days. That's within the code. Maybe I just chose 4. We can pull it up and take a look at it. But that's the breakdown there. And what's the anticipation? Anticipation is simply the follow through to the downside. That's what we're talking about, this. So if this was the initial flag, the pull, right? And we're looking at basically this measurement from this high to this high to the downside. I'm just eyeballing it. We've already got going, I don't know, close to 95-ish. You see my point? You can use actually Thinkorswim. I'll just do this because if we're using Thinkorswim drawing tools, we can get exact or much more exact on this. I'm just taking a simple diagonal line, pulling it down to this low, click one time. And all you got to do next is just, now that we've measured that price, we're simply just going to take it, activate it, and pull it right over there. See, shoot, I was off. I said approximately 95. It's a little bit higher than, closer to 96, actually, could be a potential target right there. That's getting more exact, but you can do that with the tools right there, right at your fingertips. So, okay, that's all we had. Why don't we just do the S&P? Oh gosh, we did the S&P 500. Wow, we're not seeing a lot. And by the way, last week we would have seen a few, and some of those have already broken down. But the thing is here is it doesn't pull up anything that goes beyond. If we pull this up here, I'll just show it to you. This is the script we've got. We're just using basically the same script as last week in inverse. But remember, if we're not getting it within the look back period of 4 days, and this is how you'd adjust this, just like we did last week. Remember, we're using a 30 period moving average. In this case, what are prices? They're below. The stock price itself is below the 30 period moving average. That's the average length we're looking at, right? We want to be below that. And then we want to say the look back, we've got a signal within the last certain period of time and a breakout over a certain range. We went through this a little bit more in detail last week. We've got the flag look back. Remember, we're looking for, in this case, the prior days being less than the next day, the next day, the next day, this day, but then greater than the prior day, etc. And so that's the entire setup. It's actually very, very short code and not really too hard to do, believe it or not, in terms of a flag pattern. But didn't want to spend time, going through that code again, because we've got the main one really didn't want to discuss today in terms of the cup and handle to go over. But any questions on that? Let me share it. All right, we'll share this again. Scripts aren't guaranteed for timeliness or accuracy, but this is the, type it down in here, the bear flag plus the close below the low of the low day. Right there. You guys got it. All right. Just out of curiosity, though, what are we getting in the NASDAQ 100? Just the same one. Okay, so Netflix right there. Here's an interesting note, you guys. I've been doing some scans outside of the S&P 500 too. There are bigger baskets of stocks out there. For example, the Russells. The Russells are quite large. Some of these are small in cap in nature. Of course, the 3000 is not necessarily that, but there you go. So you can look at broader bases to look at, but it could take some time to pull those up as well. Because I mean, 100 versus 3000, for example, could take a while, but that's where you do that right there in the scan in. Okay, so yeah, okay, you're looking at the past bar is what we're looking at there specifically. Yep. All right. Let's go in now and take a look at another stock. This is a stock that DHR. I traded this stock in the paper money in our paper money account in a swing trade. In fact, we still have a swing trade on this stock right now, still in place. You can kind of see the flag pattern over here sort of developing with the possibility of a move to the upside, a continuation. Maybe a target somewhere around this range is what we're looking at, 240-ish, just as an example. Now, what I want to look at, though, is specifically the, as we look at the cup and handle, I wanted to look at a specific pattern. And this pattern is going to be a candlestick pattern, and this is what the candlestick pattern looks for. I'm going to go into a weekly chart to show you where it showed up here. A 10-year weekly is just way too big. Let's go to a 3-year. Perfect. Okay, let's zoom in. Now, you guys might have heard of this before, this candle pattern. The candle pattern itself is a bullish outside key reversal is what it's referred to, and it's not one that I was too familiar with. A bullish outside key reversal. This is what it does. It takes a look, I'm on a weekly, a pullback, which we have positioned and in place right here. Here's a pullback, and you're going to be able to change this if you want to, but right now it's a 3-bar pullback. And the reason why I did that is because you can see, you'll get a lot of these scenarios that are coming up quite high, and you'll get this, this setup without the pullback. So this is what it is right here. So you've got the pullback here. I'm going to really zoom in to highlight it. And be thinking about a cup and handle as it sets up. So we're looking for the possibility of a rally, and then prices coming back down here. Now this bar is exactly that bullish outside key reversal. And what you're getting on this bar is a lower low right there. So it's a lower low, but also it closes above the high of the low day with one key aspect. And that is it's closing in the top 40% of that bar. So it closes in the top 40% of the bar itself. So in other words, you're getting a very, very strong bar, and that could be an indication of a follow through, right? Now, what we're seeing here, this is on a weekly chart. So let me try to just sort of give you a visual of what's happening here, and then I'll show it to you on the daily chart. You might have a rally over here, but then prices come down, and then you get a bar that dips a little bit lower here. And now we're on a daily chart, and what's happening here is we're getting 5 days worth of data. Notice what's happening. Are we getting above the high? Folks, right there. We're getting above the high. Those are some of the best cup and handles. Best cup and handles are the ones that go like this. Not here. Some will call that a cup and handle. Some will call this a cup and handle. But maybe even some of the best ones are the ones that go up a little bit higher and then flag right above the high is what some traders might look for, because now you've broken this high and you might be finding a level of support right there on top of it. Outside, the bullish outside key reversal has that plus the 40%. So that's just the way I was thinking about doing this in terms of getting that cup and handle in here. Getting back to our daily chart, okay? Here's the 5 days that developed, the daily. When you come up here, now we're looking for the possibility of these pullbacks here, okay? But this is what it's identifying right there. All 5 daily bars, but in this case, in a single weekly bar. Let's go to the daily and I'll show it to you. This is it right there. This is what it looks like. Now, it shows this. We had another previous one that I looked at as I was testing this, but this is what it looks like. That's that bullish outside key reversal right there. This is happening in 1 week. It's really hard. I think I tried it on the daily. It didn't work so great because you got to count these bars. They have to be different sizes, etc. In this case, just simply use a weekly. Make sure that the weekly closes lower. Trades lower, but then closes higher up top. That is your setup there. Okay? And that from that point, it might flag over. Now, some of these are going to be a little bit longer term in nature. We could go even longer by increasing that duration to a monthly, for example. I mean, there are ways to do this. But that's ultimately what we're looking at there. And so DHR is a good example. Now, I'm going to pull this up right now so I can show you what some of these will look like, okay, in that scan itself. But just a real quick look down here. Oh, yeah. So that scan, by the way, good point that comes up. Let me show you guys where you would find that at, okay? And this is where we post all of the scripts, any sort of coding that we do, whether it's, a column script, a chart script. This is where you'll find those at. So if you go to this right here, in fact, I'll just scroll on down. At the very bottom underneath, you'll find it listed down here. Sector rotation scan. There's the scan right there. You see it? We had other scripts in there as well, but we'll put them underneath. And what I had to do is you've got to click on more under the description. I did it kind of fast. Sorry. I'm so used to doing it. But right here, click on that ... more. Pull it down. And that's where you find the scan right there. Okay. Or in this case, we're talking about scans. That's the one I shared today. But I'll have other information in there as well. In fact, you can go back to prior classes if you want and pull these out too, So that's that. And yes, exactly, Kevin. All right. Thanks for posting that. All right. So let's dive into this a little bit more. In fact, we'll talk about the scan too, but I'm going to go through a number of these to just kind of show you how that scan is working. Okay. And let's see. It's a bullish. I always name them so I've got it. It's not the only thing named bullish right there. Let's see. Outside. Bullish outside. Okay. I have it under outside. Maybe I did. Just 1 second. Okay. Where'd I put that guy at? I had it. Oh, I think I made a mistake of going through and setting this up a little bit quicker here. All righty. Let's see. That's interesting. There's the bullish Darvis box. Ah, that's very, very strange, you guys. I'm not seeing it. And I remembered saving that dang thing. Wow. Okay. Well, let me do this. I'm gonna have to, that's the first time that's happened where it didn't come up. And I'm in the same, yeah, I was working on it earlier. I saved it. That is really disappointing because I have the code here, um, already in place. Now I've saved it in my Word document though. Okay. Well, guys, give me just a second here. We can't go to commercial break while I pull this up. So that is just too odd. I'm thinking what I should do maybe is put this in the box though for you as opposed to going and finding it. It might take just a second, but I'll definitely have it in the box down below. Gosh, that's so weird, you guys. I don't know what's going on. Okay. Well, let me do this. Let's see. I'm gonna see if I can pull it up. Yeah, so that's the bull flag. I did have that bull flag, but this is specifically, oh, I know I did. You guys, oh, I put it exactly as I named it, as I just looked in my box. It's the weekly. Weekly. All right. I always put it down there, kind of title it that way as the weekly there. Oh, so let's do this. Let's go ahead and run through the weekly right now. It's on a 500, and there you go. So, yeah, excellent. Let's do this. So this is our bullish outside key reversal. It is on a weekly chart, and I want to go through a few of these as they've set up. Because remember, these are just setting up as the weekly only. So here we go. Let's take a look. And I did as I was going through here, I went, oh, Berkshire Hathaway's coming up. So BRKB is just an example. Do you guys kind of see in here? I'm going to back this out a little bit. Well, in fact, here's the weekly chart, and I'm going to show you the weekly setup right here. So this is it. This is the low bar. Everybody see it now? Can you see possibly where that cup and handle could be forming? And what's going on behind the scenes here? If you can see it, I think many of you can, there's the bar right there. Did it do what we asked? In this case, we're looking for a pullback. It's dipping down below that low. And remember what I required here. I needed a pullback of at least 3 bars. This is all designed so that we get the move up, at least a 3-bar pullback. When I say bar, folks, that's a 3-week pullback. It's not small. We're talking about bigger cup and handles. It was the easiest way to try to find the daily cup and handle by using the weekly candles. We closed the last point we talked about. So you got the low. We had the 3-bar pullback, and then we had a close above this bar, but in the top 40%. That's what this looks like. And that is the move right there. So when you see that on a weekly, well, okay, look at this. Do you guys also note what a cup and handle is? More I looked into a cup and handle, I just saw multiple price patterns, and that is really kind of a fantastic feature. If I come over here, let me show it to you. If we would come up over here and we saw a cup and handle pattern like this, right, that we're talking about right now, some of the things we have in our favor, I'm going to note a few. You guys, if there's something that you see, let me know. One thing's for sure, the trend. The trend is up. Do we see the trend over here? Weekly trend. Higher high. Oh, sorry. Higher high right there and a higher low. Let's just label that. Higher high, higher low. Trend. Check. Okay. We have a pullback here. This is kind of like a flag pattern initially. You see it? One pattern right there, but also the possibility of a second flag pattern. Okay. This would be a little bit of the flag right there, perhaps coming in. Okay. But this all might be part of a bigger flag right there. So you've got this over here, I'm just going to note this as a flag, maybe a couple of flag patterns. Okay, what else do you see? You know what this is right there? This is referred to as a rounding bottom pattern or a saucer pattern. I'll just put our rounded bottom pattern right there. Remember, it's 5 bars, folks, on the daily chart that is creating that. So each one of these, we're getting maybe like 2-3 weeks of the possible rounded pattern. These cup and handle patterns aren't always just rounded. Sometimes they go like this and they'll go like that, but ultimately, kind of like this over here. But ultimately, at the end of the day, all of these could represent the cup and handle. Okay. And so a few technicians out there, this is one of their favorite ones that they talk about, but there are multiple things that are tied into that cup and handle as we look at this on the weekly. So next up, what were some of those other ones on there? We had, this is the 500 we're looking at. Interesting to look at the NASDAQ as well. We looked at DHR already, but ACN's in there. ACN, that is, not M. Okay. Cup and handle, perhaps. Possibility of a pullback here. Okay. Looks like you guys were seeing that. Appreciate it. in the scan areas there. I would have eventually read that, but there you go. So there you have it. So right there, that is your weekly chart. Let's look at the daily now. You start to see it? See how it's forming? Right there. This really matches more of a sort of a rounded bottom, so to speak. And we're waiting now for the possibility of a pullback right there. Oh, I'm pointing to earnings, aren't I? I don't know, but this can be an interesting type move. Oh, a quick note that I should have noted earlier. What is the projection for a cup and handle? Well, one of the projections, and it doesn't mean that this is the end of it. It could still continue to trend up. But what that projection is for the cup and handle is normally the range, because that's the beautiful thing with price patterns, but the range below here to the top, that's the price movement. And then what you do is you take that same price movement. It's really just an extended flag pattern in a lot of ways. There's more to it. Change in trend happening, rounded bottom happening, and maybe a couple of flags. But then we take this same price and we just extend it to the upside. Now I'm way off my chart over here, but you guys catch my drift, right? It's up here. And that's the projection that the stock or the chart could reach as it gets up there. That one's quite clear. But remember, we're capturing this on a weekly chart. Right? See, I saw a couple there. ATO is one. Okay. So let's take a look at the weekly first to find it. And you see it right there. Now, with the script, what I've done is I've enabled us to look back more than 3 days if we wanted to. This is one of the areas you could get into trouble with. If it's up too high, it might just be ready to top anyways. And so I'm looking for, this was literally right here, pullback 1, 2, and 3. We could have said 4 and it would have knocked this one out, but this was the move. Now, did it fail? It did. And I don't think this was like a great setup on a daily chart either necessarily. That was the cup and handle right there, and it failed. Now, we can pick up with our eyes what this looks like. And one thing we could do too is we could say this must happen below the 200-day moving, prices must be developing below the 200-day moving average or something, or maybe below the 50, something like that. It could be the case, because ultimately we saw like something like this, we probably would have got it right there. And then you get the longer term pullback. That's more of the cup and handle, but it did show one that didn't quite fit. Let's go do another one right now. CL. Ooh, I just saw CL there. Right there. Yeah, it was right below it. I wanted to make sure I saw it. J&J's in there too. CL. Okay, daily, but there's your weekly. Okay. That is your weekly bullish outside key reversal, or we'll just call it a weekly, I call it a weekly outside key reversal, kind of in the script here, because that's what it is. It's lower, closed above that range, and folks, you got that move. Now we're right back to this level. What does that look like on a daily? There it is. See, it's not like, these are going to be, some of them are not going to be, some of the cup and handles are a little bit V-shaped, but that's it right there. I'll just highlight it. And there you go. So what might be of interest on something like this is, what do we get from this point on down? Because this is a lot of times where they hold. So what I think some traders might be looking for here is that hold pattern to kick in right there. And if they do, maybe it starts. This one's been down a lot. And by the way, some of these, companies in the consumer staples have been down for a while. I've been wondering, are these guys getting, look at that's a monthly chart. Wow. But notice there's a long-term support level down here. Will this be enough to get this guy going? It's very interesting. These guys do tend to pay, a lot of these staples pay dividends as well. Remember, also, always keep in mind that dividends aren't guaranteed to continue in the future. They could be cut at any time, but some of these might be, like Aristocrats have been raising for a number of years without cutting. And I think this one might be, but anyways, the yields can go up too, as long as the dividends keep getting increased or just staying the same if prices are going down. But that's interesting. That'll be an interesting area. I'm curious if we do get a rotation out of that group. Now, I think I just saw one over here. I'm just Comcast. I'm just going down the list here. CSA there. Okay. What's interesting here is it's kind of the potential beginnings of one right there where you actually saw it. I'm looking at the daily. That's your move right here. We haven't had a close yet. We're still looking at the current week, but this is choosing something current right now. So this is kind of early in the setup. Okay. A little bit earlier, I'd say. Clearly in the setup. All right. So kind of fascinating there how that's setting up. But let's see. We had another one here. Okay, so this is one that pulled up a little while ago, actually. I can see it, right over here. You can see the move, because remember, it's got to be making a low and then a high. That's your bar right there. Now, this move occurred quite a ways after this initial setup. So these are really looking at the strongest kind of cup and handles. It's like this, right? Breaking above the high. We don't have to have it this way, but that is what that outside key reversal does. It makes sure you're in the top of the range. In fact, it's referred to as a Japanese candlestick as they call it themselves a key reversal. Now, whether it's key, if there's a reversal or not, nobody knows 100%, but that's just the title of it, right? And that is the reversal point right there. If we come back and look at it, so always go to the daily and weekly right here, and it's just picking up on this little guy right there. That's it. And it's saying, could that be a cup and handle right there? Okay. Outstanding money flow on this. Doesn't mean it will continue to go higher, but money flow has really gone up with it. So we'll see about that. And here we go. TXT was 1, 2, right. Yeah, right there. There's your reversal right there. And you can see it starting to, it's fascinating too, because this is just simply a candlestick that's occurring, but does that candlestick on a weekly chart help us to find the cup and handle? So it could be. And there you go. It's early, kind of early in the game, but you're just starting to break above it right now. So interesting. Higher highs, higher lows, short term. I saw one off the bottom too. What's this? Willis Towers, Wilson. Oh. Insurance brokers. Okay. Had not seen this one before. And I think I'm seeing it probably over here, but possibly still developing. Yes, there it is. It's right there. This low and this high early in the game. But you guys get a general sense that maybe, depending upon what we're looking at, it's either here or getting started here. So this, the way that the script will pull this up, I've got it 0 to 5 days. 0 to 5 in there. So in other words, the signal happened it's happening right now or within 5 days, or we can adjust it. Let's say 2 to 5 bars ago. So in other words, if we said 2 to 5 bars ago, weekly bars ago from when the signal occurred, we're looking at something like this. Okay, so then we could get a general sense that would be like 2 to 3 bars ago, and it could pull back down like this. All right. All righty. Well, yep, Kevin's posted that in, folks. Yeah, just a quick note again. So we posted quite a few things in this, pull this back, guys, right over here, into the ThinkScript session discussion here. Discussions we have each and every week into our webcast. We've got quite a few listed in here that we've gone in. Brent filled in, Kevin filled in as well. Appreciate that, Kevin. While I was out on sabbatical, but you'll find different kinds of code listed in there for different scripts that may be of interest to you, depending upon what you're looking at. We did this one too for those of you that are looking at turtle trading. That was in there, and this was specifically on the charts themselves. So what I'll need to do, folks, I've got to make sure though that I've got this script correct. There was a secondary one that I had in place just to confirm, and we might not get as many views. They're going to be a little bit more, possibly a little bit more accurate, because I did make some adjustments today to it. So let me do this. If you guys could just check back in, generally it only takes, well, it could take up to an hour, but generally it could be a little bit quicker because they've got to go through a process of being recorded. So what I'll do is I will have that script, the weekly outside key reversal, right down here for you. I'll just highlight it so you know where it's at. It'll be right under here. When it comes out, you'll find it in that box, and I'll have it listed right down here for you, okay? So I'll post that, and I'll have the other one. Well, we already shared the other one, but I'll have that one down. That was my issue today. I tried to throw in 2, and I should have just stuck with my main one, but there was some requests for that bear flag plus the kablode. So you got that. You got the bonus one. I'll get this one going to you right away, but I just realized there's a few things I need to fix on it, but it's still functional, but I'll get it out to you guys, okay? Right away. With that, hey, this was fun. I think it's fascinating what we can do in terms of finding even weekly candlestick patterns, in this case, to help spot potential, reversals, cup and handle reversals, and to spot those trends and everything within that cup and handle, the trend, different areas, and we can always have moving averages to this as well. Anyways, appreciate it, everybody. We're going to get it in place, and I'll have it listed in the description section for you. But in the meantime, yeah, you've got the bear flag. Thanks so much, Kevin, for your help in the chat as always. I don't think there were any. Oh, there was. Let's see. There was a. Okay, there is a survey for today's class in there. Thank you, Kevin, for posting that. I just caught it, and it was pinned up top. Yeah, if you guys get a chance to fill that out. In fact, I'll just post it again right now here at the bottom, just so you guys have it too. But it is in the pinned area. Great place to find it. Yeah, if you get a chance to fill it out, just a couple of different questions in there, and then any feedback you might have. My manager and I both look at it. But yeah, if there's something you found helpful, useful, love to hear about it too. So with that, everybody, have a fantastic rest of the day, and I'll have this up and ready for you real quick. Take care, all.